So it's about 5 o'clock in the morning on the 30th of July and we're finally sailing out of Cambridge Bay.
Our friend Luke on the French yacht, he's just behind us here. It looks like he might be gaining, but I think he's got his engine on.
We had a whole lot of friends say goodbye to us at the dock this morning. It was so
lovely.
Yeah.
So many good friends in Cambridge Bay. I'm sure we'll find a reason to go back there. You got your engine on, that's cheating!
Yum! Our friend Patricia baked this for us.
We just gave him a chocolate muffin. So we've got perfect weather for the next 4 or maybe even 5 days, just blowing us all the way west to Holman. He's got to duct tape up these things to stop any waves that come over the bow, getting in down below.
It's pretty cool to think that only a few weeks ago I was standing just there on the ice saying, can you believe in a few weeks time we'll be sailing past here? I'm standing on the Arctic Ocean. It's really amazing how quickly things change around here.
The weather hasn't turned out quite as promised, so we're motoring. But it's all good because for the first couple of days we've got heaps of char that our friends gave us before we left. This is a traditional Inuit game that our friend Patricia gave us in Cambridge Bay. It was a lot easier when we were on land. Yeah!
Right now we're sailing through the Edinburgh Channel. It's beautiful out here. The sun's out, the grass is green, there's gorgeous mountains just over there. We just got to be careful not to run into rocks. There's lots of rocks around here, but we're keeping a good eye out. So nice.
Our child we've got drying here is getting almost ready to eat. It's so good, it's hard to believe how good it is. So when we were in port we measured about 4 and a bit litres a day coming into the bilge. Just want to check that if it's getting any worse, especially now that we're at sea. So this is 24 hours worth of water. Half a litre. Four. So it's not getting any more and it's not getting any less. So I guess that's alright. The sun's just about to go down. The night's going to get longer and longer from now on. It's really fun sailing past Victoria Island here and seeing it from a different perspective. As some of you know, my friend Clark and I were the first people to walk across the whole island back in 2008, having tried also in 2005 and failed. But yeah, just such a fascinating island. I've always been, amazed by it. It's really cool just to see different parts of it like this. We sailed into Ulukhaktok here, used to be called Holman, last night, or very early this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, after 3 days sail from Cambridge Bay. And we had pretty well perfect conditions. A little bit calm to begin with, we did a bit of motoring, but after that just great winds, flying along downwind. We did our best daily distance ever, 130 miles in a day. So that was awesome. And we're doing like 6-7 knots more. It's crazy. We thought we'd climb up this hillside here and try to get a nice view down over Teleport. But halfway up we've discovered these huge amounts of mountain sorrel. So tasty, it's like a berry. In fact, there are lots of berries around as well. We're not sure if they're edible. But mountain sorrel is awesome. Have a look at this. The Bay Red Label All-Purpose Grind Coffee from the Hudson Bay Company. Incorporated 2nd of May 1670. Pretty sure that's just rust, not coffee. Yeah, unfortunately. It's such a friendly place here, it's amazing. As soon as we got ashore, people were coming up to us going, "Oh, you're from the little green boat!" And like everyone knew that we were here. Everyone in this whole community of 450 people, they already knew. In fact, one lady came up to us and was going, "Oh, you're here! I was getting worried, you've been 3 days." And we were like, how does anyone even know we're here? Let alone like that we were coming. And everyone's like, Facebook. So even up here in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
So the Inuit used to use this Arctic cotton to make wicks for their seal oil lamps.
Apparently here is where the old Ulukhaktok community used to be, back in the days of the Hudson Bay Trading Company. And then the town got too big and they ran out of places to put the houses, so they literally relocated the whole town across there. They put all the houses on sleds and dragged them across the bay when it was frozen and set up a new community over there. Now we're just left with bits of wood and ancient old bottles and rusted old cans and stuff like that. Ancient boat just sitting here. It's made of canvas over wood.
We've just come for a walk up the 3 hills here to get a good view over Ulukhaktok, and it's so beautiful.
So as a farewell present, one of the local hunters just gave us a king eider duck for dinner tomorrow. Excellent.
So we just found out that another use for mountain sorrel is to make tea out of it. So Chris just ran up the mountain to grab some.
Okay.
And now we're just going to boil it in some water and hopefully we'll have ourselves some Arctic tea.
It's actually really nice. It's kind of sweet. It's like a nice herbal tea.
So we just left Holman or Ulukhaktok and we went and visited a friend that was camping on a little island. So we went through their little channels and it was a bit scary. And next up is Banks Island. So hopefully we'll be there by midnight tonight, which is about 17 hours away.
So we've left our dried char, or our biffy, drying for about a week now, and it's pretty well perfect. It's just kind of crunchy on the outside and still a little bit soft in the middle, but it's got a really nice taste. Really like it. Guess I better try and teach myself how to butcher a duck. That's not too bad actually. I got two massive breast muscles and leg, and that's about all I can get out of it really, but huge amount of meat and pretty neat and tidy really. We're just approaching Banks Island now and they're starting to get a lot more pack ice. That's frozen ocean, unlike the stuff in Greenland which was from glaciers. This is frozen seawater from the winter. Makes it more interesting from now on. I'm a bit nervous in all this fog because the temperature of the air just really dropped. It's really cold now. And I'm a bit worried that we might be entering into some ice up here somewhere. But I can't see more than a couple of boat lengths in front of us anyway. And there's water caps everywhere like the guys. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning and we finally got here to Banks Island. We just anchored in about 10 feet of water. We're just going to get some sleep and then go ashore in the morning. It looks pretty interesting to go and explore out there. There's lagoons and birds everywhere and maybe hopefully some polar bears somewhere. We'll see.
Today was lovely. We rowed ashore where we anchored last night and it was just awesome having fun exploring around and seeing all the different things.
Just come across some Arctic wolf prints. They're pretty big.
We were just following along these wolf prints and then we started to see little bear prints. They're only really quite small for a bear, so it must be a young cub or something. So this is its heel and then that's where its claws went. So it's about the same size as my hand.
It has to be one of the biggest muskox skulls I've ever seen. It's interesting, all these mounds of pebbles that have been pushed up here would have been pushed up by ice. Like when the ice gets driven up here, and then the ice either melts away or goes back out to sea, and you're left with all these mounds all the way along the beach.
These are big wolf prints.
Right here, and they look really fresh. The mud in them is still wet.
Things, and now we're back here relaxing a little bit and playing some cards.
So the next morning we decided to head off to Tuktoyaktuk, 350 miles away. So we fired up our prehistoric diesel single-cylinder engine, and the weather prediction said we should have a good beam reach all the way. So we pulled up the anchor by hand, as we always do, because a dodgy anchor winch on the front doesn't really work, and set off around the bottom of Banks Island. Unfortunately, the wind pretty quickly turned dead on the nose and then got really quite strong, so it was getting quite lumpy out there, and we had water coming in through our little forward air vents and things, so we had to climb up on deck and try and seal them all off with duct tape, but it was already really wet, so the duct tape just really didn't want to stick, which was really annoying. We did have this one magical calm where a whole huge pod of bowhead whales came up really close to it, and there must have been like 30 or 40 of them. Everywhere we looked there were huge whale tails hanging up in the air, and it was amazing. We tried to get some underwater footage, but it was too dark. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, so we couldn't get any footage. The giant Mackenzie River empties into this area as well, which makes the water very brown, and also fills it with huge numbers of trees, massive logs, which are even harder to find than ice. So it's quite worrying, and also the GPS in that area was really wrong. You can see our route there going right through the middle of islands, and Jess got really seasick again, which was terrible, maybe from the weather or from the stress of it all, I don't know. But we finally did make it into Tuktoyaktuk, where we were reunited with our French friend Luke aboard Roxanne.
Welcome in Tuktoyaktuk.
We made it!
Where you come from?
Australia!